Welcome to Real Life, Real Faith. You've got the three amigos here, myself, Pastor Far, and the wonderful Charlie Jordan. Today, we are asking the question, and that I'm going to throw to Charlie, why is it important to fast? Charlie.
Wow. Well, first and foremost, fasting, what it does, it helps you put down your flesh because, the Bible says that the flesh is weak, but the spirit,
is willing.
Is willing. And so the flesh gets in the way. It definitely does. And because we live in this fleshly shell, we are so attuned to what's happening in the flesh that we miss a lot of the things that we should be more attuned in as far as the spirit is concerned. So fasting helps you do that. And I remember a testimony that Prophet Kim gave about fasting. You see, you should ask God, what you should fast. Because Kim, when he first got saved, do you remember this testimony he gave? He got saved, man, he was so radically on fire for God. He was just on fire for God. And he said, I'm going to fast, and I'm going to fast 40 days and 40 nights. And he did it. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights. It was maybe the 5th day of this fast, and he was extremely hungry, he said. But he hung in there. And at the end of this fast, he went to God. He was pompous. He said, I did it. I fasted. And he heard God, and God said, well, I didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you to do that. I gave that testimony for this. We should ask God what it is that we should fast. You've heard many people speak about the Daniel fast, the Esther fast. And people say, I'm going to do the Daniel fast. So look, I'm not saying not to do that. And if you've done it, that you're wrong. I'm not saying that at all. If that's what you feel in your heart, well, do it. But this is what God revealed to me. He said, Charlie, I'm interested in your fast. I remember when Prophet Kim, when he came to our church back in 1993, and this was right when I had first started traveling with him. I was still living here in California. And he prophesied that in the next year, in 1994, he said, God wants this church, the congregation, that's Bob Cather's church, to fast in the month of March. Well, I had never fasted. I was a baby Christian, and I was 3 years young. I was the greenest apple on the tree, man. I knew nothing about fasting. But I was raised up in the house of prayer, or in Bob Cather's house of prayer, where he said prayer is everything. And so he drilled in us the attitude and the condition of praying. And so I asked God, I heard Prophet Kim's testimony about fasting 40 days. I know I'm not equipped to fast 40 days without any food. So I went to God and I asked him, what shall I fast? And this is what he directed. He told me, okay, Charlie, fast something that you love doing. So guess what that fast was? Blockbuster video. I couldn't go by a Blockbuster video without turning around going into it. If my wife was here right now, she'll tell you, why are you going into Blockbuster? You were just there yesterday.
Yeah.
I had this thing about Blockbuster that I just love Blockbuster video. And so I started this fast in January. I started fasting Blockbuster video. And let me tell you something, guys, it was hard because I lived right around the block from Blockbuster. And every time I had to pass by Blockbuster, I had to say, I can't go. And then God told me now, so I fasted Blockbuster for 2 weeks. And then the next 2 weeks of January of that year, he said, now continue to fast Blockbuster, but now fast something else. And so I began to increase that fast. And when I got to the month of March, I was able to fast all food except for salad. And what it did for me, it really, truly elevated my faith. It elevated me to the point of now I trust in the spirit more so in what my flesh desired. And fasting is so important. Remember, Daniel fasted for 21 days, but he didn't say, God, I'm going to fast for 21 days. He was looking for an answer to the vision that he had. And so he set aside a time to pray. It just so happens it took 21 days.
Yeah.
for the answer to come. That was Daniel's fast. So I like to fast what it is that God has told me to fast. Like now, I'm fasting now through the year of 2024 into 2025, and I'm fasting different things because God requires us to fast. I think it's a spiritual thing, and what it does, man, it just really puts your flesh where it needs to be. Amen. Under you, and that we need to be in the spirit. Yeah. And that's my thoughts.
Well, Charlie, you just demonstrated obedience is better than sacrifice. Yeah. And to listen to God because he has a wisdom. And, fasting does not move God.
Come on.
You said it. Mm-hmm. Fasting deals with our flesh. Right. It should move us to God. We're not going to get God to do anything.
Yeah.
So intermittent fasting. I like to harp on this because the world right now has been into intermittent fasting. You go to bed, you spend 8 hours in bed, whether you sleep 8 hours or not, you're normally in bed for 8 hours, and hopefully you're not eating Doritos while you're in bed. So you wake up, you're in a fast.
Yeah.
And breakfast is breaking the fast. But don't break the fast. Well, this is not an order, but this is an example. Don't break the fast at 8 o'clock. Don't break the fast at 9 o'clock. Don't break the fast at 10 o'clock. You say, I want to fast so bad, but I can't do it. Well, see, you've already made it to 10 o'clock. And you ate last night at 5 o'clock, so you count those hours. You could intermittent fast 16, 17, 18 hours before you know it. That's just an example. Listen to God. Daniel ate beans and he didn't eat all the dainty foods. You do that too. Ask God and let God lead you into what you eat and let God lead you into how you eat. And remember this, fasting doesn't move God, it moves us. And when we fast, our bodies are healing themselves. Besides all the spiritual benefits, our bodies are healing themselves. And with the American diet, we need healing. Christy,
and before I turn it over to you, he mentioned the Daniel fast. I think a lot of people miss that in that 21-day Daniel fast, he didn't bathe himself. He didn't, he went without bathing. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. And, speaking of fasting, I remember 2010. Everybody here will remember this. Kim was like, we're going to fast for a year. And I thought, Heavenly God, help me. And at the time, I was living with him, so I couldn't sneak a jolly darn thing, let me tell you, and I wanted to. I am a sugar fiend. Yeah. You know this, Pastor Fa, of me. I've spoken about it many times. I just love sugar. I love it so much. I love desserts, all the dainties.
It's not to love about it.
What's not to love? And I just love it so much. And so like you're saying, it would be infinitely easier for me to fast food than sugar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so what I was challenged to do was not have anything that I loved for a year. And I hated it, man. Mm-hmm. I did not have a good time. I'm not going to lie to you here. I had a terrible time. But it was leading up to the Israel is Forever concert in 2011, right. Charlie. And that was probably one of the best trips of my life. Mm-hmm. When we got to go there and be in Israel with 1,000 people, those of you that were on that trip, you'll remember that. It was one of the best times of my life. And I can't lie, God did do something incredible that night. Mm-hmm. And on that entire trip, it was life-changing in so many ways. And my challenge was, I was living in the US for the first time in a long time. And in the beginning of 2010, before Kim called us to the fast, he knew I loved desserts, right? He knew it, and he was always fasting. So I remember we'd go out on tour, Charlie, when we were touring around the US, because I was part of that last big tour, right. that he ever did across the US. And I remember this one restaurant we were at in Dallas, and he looked at me and called me Doris. Doris, you need to eat the dessert for me. And so he ordered me one of everything on the dessert menu and had the guy bring me everything. And I thought, I have gone to heaven, boy. Here I am. Yeah. And he just watched me say, tell me about it. And he watched me eating every single dessert. Tell me about it. How does it taste? Is it good? And then this fast was called, and I could have said, oh, well, I'm going to fast media, or I'm going to fast. But I decided to fast that which I know would cost me the most, right. Which was sugar and desserts. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was going to be over Christmas time. And let me tell you something about my Lebanese family. At Christmas time, it's offensive if you don't eat too much. You know, it's like this is the love language for the Lebanese is food.
Right.
And so my aunt was horrified that I wasn't going to be partaking in all the desserts and all that stuff. But I stuck with it, and I can't deny what God did in my life and in my heart over that trip. And Kim and I broke our fast together with a chocolate souffle cake. Oh boy, was that just delicious. We were in Israel at the sea dolphin called the Dolphin Yum. And he said, Doris, are you ready? I said, oh, Prophet, I'm ready.
Right.
And we ordered it, and we both stuck our spoon in at the same time and ate it. And he went, oh, this is heaven. I said, it is heaven. And I can't deny that God did do something. But again, like Pastor Farr mentioned, we're not doing it for God. We're doing it for us. Charlie said it's bringing the flesh down. And everybody's got something they struggle with. And we've mentioned it many times on Real Life, Real Faith. In the church, the one thing you're allowed to do is eat.
Yeah.
You know, it's how we celebrate everything.
Eat well.
Eat well, eat much, eat rapidly, eat regularly, you know, and in so many instances, you know, we did that so many times in my life growing up. You know, the church would be called to a fast, and we'd all gather together and prayer meetings in the evenings, and I'd have to play drums, and I was so tired, and then I would look forward to butternut soup because that's all we could eat, you know, but it really does come down to obeying what we believe God has told us to do, and it is going to look different for everybody.
Right.
You know, for Pastor Farr, I know that God's saying to him, maybe don't eat bread and steak is going to cost him more than it would cost me. Because for me, it's junk. It's sugar. It's for somebody else, it might be chips. For somebody else, it might be Blockbuster. For some of you, it might be Netflix. I don't know.
Right.
But I do know that the point is to bring our flesh into submission and to show God that we need him more than we need the thing that we rely on.
Yeah. I think it to clarify as well, not clarify anything that Christy said, but when Kim would fast, we're not talking about everyone going on a total fast. No. How do you fast for a year or 2 years or 3?
Right.
Well, Kim, let me give you an example. He'd have maybe a broth for lunch and nothing but fish and maybe a little vegetable for dinner. No hot dogs, no ribeye. You understand? So there were certain things that he would eat, and that would be it. And he'd buy everyone else dessert.
Yeah, he would. Or he'd make us steaks and not eat them. You know, he would.
So that's how you can fast for extended periods of time. If you go on a total fast, you will die.
Yeah, so don't do that.
40 days.
Don't do that. But I think the point, Charlie, is that it's important to fast because it brings our flesh under and it elevates our need for God.
Right. It brings us closer to really, truly hearing God.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the flesh gets in the way. We live in this fleshly body, and we are so attuned to the things of the flesh. And so fasting does that. It puts the flesh down, and it elevates us to a place to where we can now hear God clearly and be directed by God. It's so important to fast.
Yeah.
Fast, but ask God what to fast.
Yeah.
Okay, ask him, and he will tell you. He will tell you because he knows everything about you anyway. He knows that most of us cannot do the Jesus fast, 40 days and 40 nights, or what Moses did on Mount Sinai.
Yeah.
He knows that about us. So just ask him, and he will tell you.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support what we're doing and support our mission, you can scan that QR code, you can click the red link, you can text to give, join our partnership like Donna spoke about at the beginning of the broadcast. And so we really do thank you for your support, especially if you're a partner. Thank you. We could not do this without you. We say God bless, go in peace, and we'll see you next week. Every Tuesday we're here, Real Life, Real Faith. God bless. Does Jesus care about politics? Wow. Now, I don't think much has divided the nation as much as politics.
Yeah, right.
You know, when I look around and how crazy some people have gone on both sides, I'm not going to point fingers here, both sides. You know, the one thing I really don't believe is that God would want the church divided over something like this.
We need, believe it or not, Democrats. Sorry.
I shall hold my tongue.
Because we need, now, it's a shame when political parties go astray.
Yes.
But we need balance.
Jesus knew who he was, and he knew where he stood and the authority that he walked in. And so he had no problem going to Pilate and releasing and telling him the truth of who Pilate was to him and who he was to Pilate.
Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bedsheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.